Lately, we've been talking about spell working and how you can work in a spell work or casting, and how you learn these different techniques and some of the things that are required, like the tools and accoutrements. But today we're going to be talking about how to time spells for best results. So in Ecclesiastes 3:1 in the King James Bible, it is said that to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Now you hear the saying, timing is everything, right? In a spell work, sometimes when you cast a spell can be just as important as how. So think of it this way. Casting a spell is like planting seeds. In order for seeds to grow into healthy plants, you must sow them during optimal conditions. The same holds true for spells. Of course, if you feel a pressing need to do a spell or sense that the energies around you are compatible with your intention, by all means go ahead. Let's talk about astrology and magic. When doing magic spells, it's a good idea to take celestial influences into account in order to choose the most auspicious times to perform spells and rituals. The sun and the moon, and their ever-changing relationship to our planet, has fascinated human beings since the beginning of time. Our ancestors noticed that the sun's apparent movement brought about the seasons, and that the moon's phases altered the tides and affected fertility in both humans and animals. Even today we can easily see how solar and lunar forces operate in everyday life. The ancients believed gods and goddesses inhabit the heavenly bodies. From the celestial above, they govern every facet of life in Earth. Each deity and each planet possess certain characteristics and powers. Modern astrologers don't usually think of planets as the home for gods and goddesses. However, they still connect each of the celestial spheres with the specific properties, influences, and powers that affect human and earthly existence. Let's talk about some of the planetary powers. And what I'm showing you here are the symbols mostly used during medieval times on how to write on the planets. Aligning yourself with planetary powers that support the nature of your spells can improve the effectiveness of your magical workings. So this table shows each planet's areas of influence. Sometimes astrologers often lump the sun and the moon together under a broad heading of planets, although of course they're not. As you can see, the sun in areas of influence are when you're trying to do a spell that has to do with sense of self-identity, public image, career, creativity, leadership, masculine power, or well-being. The moon is, of course, a female thing, and so the areas of influence of the moon are emotions, intuition, dreams, home, domestic life, family, children, and feminine power. Mercury has to do with communication, mental skills, activity, learning, travel, and commerce. So, for example, if you're traveling or you're required to do some kind of learning, it's always good to do it under Mercury's. Venus had to do, of course, with love and relationships and social interaction, art, creativity, and women and beauty. Mars is a planet that demands action, vitality, strength, competition, and courage, and mostly is regulated under a male-on-man symbols. If you're a woman like myself that was born under Mars, then you tend to be strong and have a lot of vitality and be of action, almost like a man. So, Jupiter. Let's talk about Jupiter. Jupiter is a good planet in areas of influence that are growth, expansion, good luck, knowledge, and travel. Saturn speaks to us about limitations, responsibility in work, permanence, and also it's good for when it has to do with business or house stability. Uranus is an independent, sudden, or unexpected situation, something that requires in life some change or an unconventional idea or behavior. Neptune is the planet of dreams and intuition, imagination, and creativity, and also it is useful with the spirit realm. Pluto has hidden power, forces, transformation, and it is good in spells that have to do with death or rebirth. When you're doing spells, you might want to refer to the table I just gave you. Venus energy, for instance, can enhance love spells, and Jupiter's expansive power can be an asset when you're doing spells for career success or financial growth. You can use the planet symbols of candles and talismans and amulets in all sorts of different ways. It is also important to consult with an astrologer or check your what is called Ephemeris, which is a table of daily planetary movements, to determine when the celestial energies are favorable for your magical workings. And also some people like to get their natal or astral chart read. Now let's talk about power days. The heavenly bodies also rule the days of the week. By casting a spell on a day that corresponds to your intention, based on the deity who presides over that day, you can increase your potential for success. Most love spells should be done on Friday because of Venus, the planet of love and relationships, governs that day. So perform spells to bring success on money on Thursday, when Jupiter encourages growth. So Monday is the Moon, Tuesday Mars. As you can see, Wednesday is Mercury, Thursday is Jupiter, Friday Venus, Saturday Saturn, and Sunday is the Sun. So what is the best day to do a spell? Well, on your birthday. On that special day each year, the sun shines brightly on you, even if it's raining outdoors, of course, and spotlights your unique talents and abilities. Its energy illuminates and enhances whatever you undertake. As a result, whatever spells you do on your birthday have a better than usual chance of succeeding. Now let's talk about planets and signs and Mercury. Each planet rules one or more signs of the zodiac. We all know that. You probably know your birth sign. That's the astrological sign in which the sun was positioned the day that you were born. For example, for me, will be Pisces. What you might not know, though, is that the moon and all the planets in our solar system also spend periods of time in each of the 12 signs of the zodiac, and they continually move through these signs and sectors of the heavens. Believe it or not, my master's degree is in astrophysics. Yeah, you heard me right. Not astrology, but astrophysics. So we consider astrology as pseudoscience. Pseudo means fake science as a scientist. However, as a human being, I do understand that there are things in astrology that are useful when you're predicting your natal or astral chart, for example, and trying to know anything from nutrition to relationships to career to success. Now, we were talking about the planets and the zodiac, and I was mentioning astrophysics because in astrophysics we know that the zodiacal planets are what we call in the ecliptic. They're also all going so. These signs color the energy of the planets, so therefore it's good to check the positions of the planets when you're doing spells, especially the placements of the sun and the moon. So I will advise doing spells when the sun or moon are in a particular astrological sign in order to tip the scales in your favor. If you have taken my herbalism course, I explain also what are the best times to pick certain kinds of herbs or flowers, and to not only be able to pick the best ones for your spells or for your healing treatments, but also because it is the best time to replant that whatever plant you took. Obviously you want to make a gift or donation or replant that plant so we don't have a lack of that plant in that area. So for example, the planet Sun, which is, we talk is not a planet, obviously, neither the moon or the sun, but the Sun has the zodiac sign of Leo, Moon Cancer, Mercury Gemini and Virgo, Venus Taurus and Libra, Mars Aries, Jupiter Sagittarius, Saturn Capricorn, Uranus Aquarius, Neptune Pisces, and Pluto Scorpio. When the Sun or the Moon is positioned in a sign, it takes on some of the characteristics of the sign and the planet that rules that sign, which can be important in the spell work. For example, it's usually best to do love spells when the Sun or Moon is in Taurus or Libra, signs ruled by the planet Venus. If you're doing a travel spell, consider casting it when the Sun or Moon is in Gemini or Sagittarius. The Moon remains in a sign for about 2.5 days and completes a circle of 12 zodiac signs each month. And of course the information I'm giving you is from astrology. Now if you were talking astrophysics, we know that there's 13 zodiacs. Nobody mentions the 13th zodiac, which is the serpent, because the 13 used to be considered bad luck. That's something that if you want to research real science, then you can find that 13th zodiac sign and why it normally is hidden through normal culture, because the number 13 is considered bad luck in some cultures. Check an Ephemeris or an online astrology site to determine which days will support your objectives better, as we said before. So some planets in our solar system, including Mercury, have what we call retrograde periods. So every 4 months, the planet Mercury goes retrograde for about 3 weeks and appears to be moving backward through the sky, as is, for example, the planet Mars. So a few of our almost half of all our planets in our solar system tend to do this retrograde period motion. The ability to communicate with others may be hampered as well during these periods. I know that about a few weeks back we had a Saturn retrograde that has been extremely harmful in general to a lot of people. People found themselves in amidst obviously of the COVID pandemic, not knowing what to do, changing jobs, quitting jobs, changing partners, losing money, losing their homes. A lot of the stuff has been happening under Saturn retrograde for the longest time. As you can see, astrology can sometimes deal with the spells or what's happening in the world as well. I hope that you learned a lot today about Mercury, planet days, power days, and signs, and how astrology and magic are helpful for timing your spells for best results. In the next module, we're going to talk about moon magic, and we're going to talk about the SBATs and the Sabbats, which are mostly through our Wiccan culture. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next module.